Hello everyone, the 316 here with another Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse review. This time I have the Amazon exclusive Gold Label Collection Superman and Atomic Skull 2-pack. This retails for, I want to say $39.99, somewhere around that per ballpark. Comes with the two figures you see here. It comes with a reused backdrop, uh, figure stand, two figure stands, and some accessories. So Superman comes with two open flight hands, as well as a left fisted hand and a right trigger finger holding hand. Not sure why. And then Atomic Skull over here comes with uh, an open left hand without an effect, a fisted right hand with no effect, a effect hand which is like kind of flat, and a kind of open clasping hand with this type of effect. Also, in this box set, you get two cards. So this is the Action Comics 1000 Superman card. Why is this so dusty? They reused this from the Action Comics 1000 Superman, as I was saying, and I believe it's the exact same, just with it doesn't say 1000 down there. And then Atomic Skulls is here, and there's the back of that for you. I was not familiar with Atomic Skull until I read this data file, so kind of interesting. Anyway, two more cards to add to the collection, and two more figures. Let's go ahead and start off with Superman. Now, this Superman is practically the exact same as Action Comics 1000 Superman, the only difference being that this is using a lighter blue, whereas the Action Comics 1000 uses a darker blue. I don't have a problem with that. If anything, I think that this blue is more accurate to the card art, although you could make the argument that the darker blue is more accurate. Just depends on what you want in your Superman. I kind of like mine to be in between the darker and the brighter colors, and we'll get into that. You'll see what I mean. But this figure, even if it's reuse, it looks pretty good. The S is probably the best S on the torso we've seen. In person, it looks a lot better than I thought it would. The S logo, that is. Not really a big fan of these single jointed arms. I get that these are supposed to be mostly reuses, but considering we haven't seen single jointed arms since the first year of the line, as far as I know, every other figure of the 7-inch scale here, not including the big figs, has double jointed elbows in some capacity. I really wish they kit bashed the rebirth arms onto this body, but oh well. So yeah, this is as far up as that elbow can get, and mine's kind of loose on both sides. This side's a little bit better, but not by much. Not at all. Um, I still do have that, like, broken leg syndrome where if I crack his legs all the way forward at the knees, you can see that it's very curved. So just, you kind of have to fiddle with it until you find the right way to get him to stand up. And he can stand up. It's just trying to find the right way to do that. He does come with the old ball pegs on the ankles and the wrists. I wish the wrists were skin color, skin tone. I don't really like the ankle joints, but the wrist ones I'm fine with. Again, just wish those were in the skin tone so it would, mesh better. Because, this is where his wrist cuff is, and that's where his, hand and wrist start. So, oh well. Uh, I I don't really like this crotch piece. It's too small. It feels very restrictive. I just can't. I just don't like it. It's accurate, but like that's as far up as I could put the leg without starting to stretch it, and it starts to make some pretty nasty sounds. So I don't bother doing that. I mean, plenty of articulation up here, but not so much in the legs, and it can't twist the legs very much, if at all. So articulation-wise, I am disappointed, but I kind of knew what I was getting into since this is not a reused figure, but a reissue with just a different paint job. Something I do appreciate about this is that the hair, I said head and hair. Come on, focus. The hair has a slight blue paint application to it, so it gives a kind of nice highlight, but it's only on the top. It's not on the sides. It's kind of strange that they did that. You can see it there a bit better. And I am having trouble standing him right now. The cape's pretty heavy. I do wish that they used a different cape. I am tempted to cut along this line right here so that it reduces some of the material and it doesn't look as wacky as this one does. But there's your Superman. Just a quick look at him. Articulation, meh. I mean, it's just Action Comics 1000 Superman. I wasn't. I mainly got this 2-pack for this Superman, so I had a better looking Justice League Superman. Not to say that the other one I have isn't bad, just this one. This is the one I really wanted, just from a looks perspective. But let's get on to the surprise of this 2-pack, which is Atomic Skull. When Mcfarlane cooks, they cook. And if I didn't tell you that this was a reuse of the Lex Luthor, you probably wouldn't have known because this looks like a brand new figure. Now, it's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to adjust my light here real quick. I think it's the green or maybe it's the box. Okay, that looks a little bit better. By the way, this box, there's nothing special to it. The only interesting thing is on the back you have both of their card arts. But really that's about it. Everything else just says, DC Multiverse on the side, and you got that on that side. And of course, since this is an Amazon exclusive, you're not going to find it in stores, so I'm not going to show you the product code or anything. Yeah, I think it actually looks better without the box and frame. But let's get some warmer lights in here. Actually, that makes it look better. Good. So, Atomic Skull, as I said, is a reuse of Lex Luthor. And I do have that with me, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him in real quick. And they didn't really reuse a lot from this Lex Luthor. The only things they reused, from what I can tell, is the shoulder piece, the the forearm here, or not forearm, the bicep, the midsection, and the upper thigh. Everything else is a completely new mold, and I appreciate that. It feels like a different character, and they only reused a few pieces. So what's new is the forearms, the hands, the shins, the feet, the crotch piece, and the upper torso rubber overlay, as well as the head, of course. So there's just a little quick look between those two. As I said, you probably wouldn't have known that this was mostly reuse if I didn't tell you. And since we have Atomic Skull in frame, this is also a reuse of a Batman and Azrael 2-pack, apparently. So you can see that there are foot pegs on this, and there's one hiding right there. I'm not going to be using this, but I'm just going to keep it in the background for the rest of the video. But you can put them in a bit of an action pose and, can make it look nice, like they're fighting each other. But back to Atomic Skull. As I said, I didn't really know much about this Atomic Skull, but I'm glad I have this figure. I really like the metallic lilac and metallic purple color they used on this guy. He's very imposing. He's tall. The head sculpt is really nice. I mean, just look at that. It reminds me of the Deathstorm head sculpt, but it is completely different. And I do appreciate that. They could have just reused it. It is a translucent piece that they painted onto. And I gotta say, I think Mcfarlane does some of the best paint on translucent plastic that I've seen. It's very well covered, it looks good, and it meshes with the rest of their figures. But articulation is the same as that Lex Luthor. I'm not really a big fan of this upper joint. That's him crunched all the way forward, and that's him crunched all the way back. The reason being is that the hard plastic that they use for the inner piece is the same as Lex Luthor, and the ball joint is actually sat at an angle, so a lot of the figure is leaning backwards, whereas it should be more centered like this. But they don't do that for some reason, and it's dumb. I don't get why they do that. They haven't been doing it recently. They've actually been putting it more towards the center of the actual figure, and that's what you want for better articulation. This figure kind of reminds me of Iron Man. You could probably repaint this to look like an Iron Man armor. You would just have to switch out the head. And there's the back of the figure for you, just to give you an idea. And here's a closer look at the effect piece hands, which is what I'm going to keep on the figure. And this kind of looks like a repulsor blast, but it's not. You can have something coming out of his hand shooting it, or you can have him, like ruin the day, like, I will get you, Superman. Rah. But really just well done, Atomic Skull. I like it, was not expecting it, and I hope to see more kind of like lower than B tier villains in this line. I like seeing some weird characters that I haven't heard before, even being a DC fan myself. So there's Atomic Skull. He looks great, and I actually prefer him to the Superman in this set, and that's saying something. And between them, Atomic Skull is taller, mostly because of that headpiece and the new shin pieces that are different from Lex Luthor. So, height-wise, Superman stands at 7.5 inches, whereas Atomic Skull stands in at 8 inches, give or take, here and there. So, let's go ahead and start off with our size comparisons. We're going to start with Lex Luthor, since I already had him in here. And Lex Luthor is shorter by a little bit. Not by too much, but he's definitely shorter. Atomic Skull is taller, and if I bring his legs all the way together, he's definitely much taller than Lex Luthor. And then next up, we have my Platinum Superman #1. And, I still really, really love that Platinum Superman. But I think for my Justice League display, I'm going to use the Action Comics body mold. I just think it looks better for the Justice League that I'm building. And then last, Mcfarlane DC Multiverse, before we get on to the others, is Supergirl here. And they each use a different blue color. Hers is a bit more purple. This Superman's kind of what I want, and this one's kind of has a green tint to it. It's very hard to see, but that Superman has a green tint to his blue. His is like a light blue. Hers has a little bit of purple in it, just a touch of purple. But fleshing out my Superman display here, it's looking good. And yeah, I can't complain with any of these figures besides Supergirl. But if you want to see how I felt about Supergirl, Lex Luthor, or Platinum Superman, I have those videos on my channel. They shouldn't be too hard to find. They're all very recent. But yeah, the Super family is looking pretty good. And let's get these guys out of the way here. Get Supergirl out of here. And get Platinum Superman out of here. Alright, let's go ahead and see how he looks next to some other figures, both of these guys. First of all, speaking of Justice League, here is the Nightfall Batman. These two look great together. Batman is just a touch taller, but I think that's mostly due to me having to put Superman's legs in a weird position to get him to properly stand, so they're probably the same height. They look great together. I thought Batman's blue was a lot brighter, but oh well. Alright, next up, let's go with Mattel Elite 100 John Cena. Cena's shorter than both of them. That's kind of surprising. These guys are like 6'3", 6'4", give or take. Next up, we have AEW Unrivaled Samoa Joe. We'll stick him over there. Oop. Sorry, Joe. There you go. Next up, we have the Halo Spartan Yoroi. We'll stick them in the middle. And we'll move him a little bit. Alright, 6-inch lines. G.I. Joe Classified. Tiger Force Outback. Marvel Legends. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Dino Thunder Black. Trying to get Samoa Joe in the shot. There you go. So overall, I like this 2-pack. If you're buying it for the Superman, I don't think you're going to be completely disappointed. While it is a reuse of the Action Comics 1000 Superman body, it's still the best Superman logo we have, the most accurate, best looking, and he matches well with the Nightfall Batman as well as the Flashpoint Flash, which I don't have on camera right now. The Atomic Skull, I think, is the real winner of this 2-pack. They did a good job on a character that I didn't really know much about, and I'd like to know more about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell. It all helps out the channel. And leave a comment telling me what you think of this 2-pack. If this is your favorite Superman, uh, just look. I'm kind of partial to the blue on this Superman, but both figures do something better than the other. And as always, peace.